No one in this world can you trust. Not men, not women, not beasts. This you can trust.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Glory of Golden State Gaming. I'm your host, Swamp Swimmer, and with me today, the Joker to my Batman, Henry. I'm telling you, you are because I can't seem to beat you.
I know, or maybe you just don't have the heart. Maybe you just don't have the heart for it.
Maybe.
Realize I'm part of your identity and can't get rid of me.
But before we get into the battle,
definitely not Jared Leto Joker though.
Oh, thank God! Thank God. Okay, small off-topic question: Who's the best Joker?
Did you ever watch the show Gotham?
Yeah.
That guy, I can't remember his name.
Really? He was good. I'm not gonna lie, he was not bad, but I don't think he's the best.
I think it was the most interesting way it was done. But I just really enjoyed that show. So.
Mine might be the most popular choice, but it's for me it's Heath Ledger. He was just fantastic.
Yeah, I enjoyed those films. I think they set superhero movies on the wrong path for a long time. But
yeah, true. But anyway, that's not even our topic we're talking about today. Let's talk about chaff. Now, this is not going to be a chaff lesson, but everyone knows in Ninth Age, chaff is a big important part of the game. But really the question is, do you prefer, the best way you put it is active versus reactive chaff? Reactive chaff is just like your dogs, like the cheapest possible unit in the game that'll just go and prevent a charge and be a speed bump, or a redirector, or is like your sticks, your little sticks in your VC army of wherever they are, that are around 250 points, that can be chaff but also can take out cheap chaff, can do a little bit of damage. What are your thoughts on that?
So I think the most important part about chaff is understanding, are you trying to protect something, or are you trying to make something happen? If you're trying to protect something, you need just cheap things that can die in the way, so harpies, that kind of thing. But if you need to make something happen, you need to be able to clear their own chaff. So if you have chaff that can actually thread a needle, get somewhere that's hard to get, or win a fight, those should be the units you're looking for. I think a good example is flares versus dogs. So dogs are great at just diving under a hand grenade, where flares can actually fight units and also just keep coming back and being chaff with feign flight and move 20. So it's just really understanding the role you need chaff to play in your army.
So in your armies, when you're building armies, you try to have a little of both?
So the way I write lists is actually everything is chaff. I don't gear points to have anything that's not chaff except for one or two central models. But that goes more to the way I like to play, which is minimize as many losses as possible and then try to get one little victory that'll get you like a 16. But yeah, I think chaff that has another role if they need to be is very important for list writing for most armies.
Yeah, I was gonna say in my Beast Surge army, I like the harpies. I'm sorry, the harpies, the gargoyles. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And really the Beast Surge gargoyles are they're pretty good in combat. If they take the charge, they could take off chaff easily. But really, what I use as my main chaff pieces are my giants.
Yeah, the giants and I think the Mino sticks are another one where the Mino stick is a chaff piece when you need it to be, and a landmine when you don't. Because that unit is so nasty if you can't actually clear it before it swings.
My problem is I do agree with you that they're so great in certain situations, but for me they're unreliable because I run them on the flanks away from my general, and they're too easily frenzy baited.
Yeah. The Beast Herds list I've been working on just play like 2 or 3 sticks, and it's just about threading the needle and making it in an awkward place.
Fair enough. Hey, let's get into the battle report. We're in round 3 of the North American Masters. You are sitting on 25 points, and we spoiled it last episode, but you get paired into good old Jeff Durham. This is This is a tough matchup.
So Jeff and I have played quite a few times now. I think this is time number 4, and every time. So the first time I think we played, I'm pretty sure he thought I was a full-blown scrub. And every time I've put the fear in him a little bit more. So I was like, okay, but this is my game. This is my game to like finally, you know,
this breakthrough,
be my boogeyman. Yeah. But he's like if you've never played him, he's super intimidating kind of to play because he's very serious.
He is no nonsense when you're playing.
But he's quickly becoming one of my favorite games just because he's just really fun to play. And you can kind of call him on luck when one of you has good or bad luck, and you can call him on it, and he's aware of it. He's not like someone when you play them that when they get lucky and you call them on it, they're like, oh no, that was always going to happen. It's like, well, no, and this shouldn't have happened. But Jeff knows, and he gets like a little twinkle in his eye like Santa Claus, and he knows he got away with something. And you're like, yep. And then he proceeds to step on the throat anyway.
Isn't that
jolly old Saint Nick?
That's maybe the worst thing you can see across the table for you is the twinkle in Jeff Durham's eye.
It's normally the last thing a lot of people see, I think, so.
Anyway, hey, if you are interested in Henry's list or in any of the lists in the whole tournament, please click the link right above my head. The first video is of we did a list review of all the lists. And then the second video, the second link, is of the round 1 video for Henry, where he goes into detail of his list. But let's go ahead and look at Jeff's. And this is a list Jeff has played more than a few times. He loves repeatedly playing close to the same list, like a lot of times.
Yeah, he and I played at the Joust, same event, same location, and he's playing almost the same list. Earlier in the summer when we played Kenyon. And yeah, it's just a Chaos Lord on board Davis, paired weapon Shield Breaker, Talisman of Shielding, Immortal Gauntlets, Gluttony, Dark Prelate. So he's just kind of an interesting duelist that can pass out buffs to his unit.
Yep.
Then Double Master, one's on Black Steed with Occultism, with a 2-up in Hero's Heart. The other one's Evo on Light, or Evo on Master on Evo with Destiny's Call. 27 Warriors, Banner of Speed, 2 units of Dogs, 2 5s of Feldrex, and 8 Warrior Knights.
Big Feldrek units with Banners of Discipline in both of them. They're just super reliable.
Yeah, there's no real fact on this list. There's no real trick. It's just looking at the unit stats and being like, these units have good stats, into the list they go. And that's it. Like, Warriors is a great army for that.
Yeah, it's not a bad way to think about it at all. Like, makes sense. But let's get into deployment.
Yeah, so this was
this was Dawn Assault.
Secondary. Yeah, Dawn Assault with the secondary of we both placed the 2 tokens. They have to be out of our deployments.
Secure target.
Yeah. So his goes in the woods. Mine goes all the way in the corner under his dice bag.
Somewhere over here?
Yeah. Because he doesn't have a ton of units, so I figure if I can spread him out and make one of his punchy units hang back on that objective, that'll help me more than it'll hurt me.
Yeah.
So he is the only person I played at this tournament, spoilers for other games, who didn't drop on me. Which is funny considering he has 30 less units than I do. So we go drop for a while. He's Feldrex, dogs, knight unit, and then warriors with all the characters in the world.
Yep, all the characters in it. Yep.
This is marching columns. That's the deployment.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
That's
Marching
why
columns.
That's why. So both of our columns are starting from stage left and going right. So my first drop is this ghost unit in the far bottom corner.
Oh,
and then
over
a
here.
piece of impassable, and then the dogs. The ghosts mainly because they match up well versus the Feldrax if I can get the flank.
Mm-hmm.
And then a bunch of garbage, the black coach, both my scoring bricks so I can get into the woods. The dragon with the necromancer, his heal buddy.
Right
Then the raids, I believe,
The
are
raids.
behind the dragon tower.
Yep.
Then
those are the
another
race.
dart with the alchemy necromancer, and his job is to get close enough to Quicksilver Lash some knights.
Yep.
Some dogs, and then both Varklox. In my practice,
The Vampire Knights are over there too, right?
yeah, the Vampire Knights are just there to get to the back corner of the board.
Yeah.
In theory. In my practice games, I'd found that Varkalox are actually really good at assassinating Chaos Sorcerers.
Okay. I
They
feel like
just
he
the
fairly decently
output for it.
he fairly decently defensed up his wizards, right? One is a 2-up.
Yeah. A Varkalox is strength 6, so the 2-up doesn't really help it too much. The problem is that Chaos Lord, because he has flaming attacks.
Yeah.
So he can kill a Varkalox fairly easily. But if given the chance, they'll zip in there and pick up one of those sorcerers.
Gotcha.
So that's the thoughts behind the planet there.
Who got top of 1?
I believe he does, because we deploy the 3 and then he just goes down. 'Cause
Okay.
There's no way he's going to see anything of substance.
This is just more of deployment, it looks like.
Yeah, it's just showing the Varkalax and the Knights.
Whoa, and big jump here.
Yeah, so this is game 3, and I'm playing Durham, so I have my little note to take photos of my games, but at the same time, I'm like, all right, put your serious face on. So, my dogs Vanguard up to try to bait charges, and the Varkalax Vanguard up to start trying to run around the flank.
Mm-hmm.
Both his dog units get unleashed, and he charges my dog units.
Mm-hmm.
They both kind of just bounce off each other, the dog units. He doesn't crumble away me, I don't break him. So then on my turn, I put the raids into the flank of this dog unit in the hopes that I can break them or wipe them out. The raids overrun and the dogs just stay here. So it's an awkward unit he has to remove, and the wraiths will be kind of out of his arc or an obnoxious point.
Yeah.
And then the Varkalax are just waiting for their opening here to charge a flank or snipe a character if I can get a good arc on it.
Makes sense.
Over here, that's the dogs I'm talking about, where we just whittle them down, and then the gas dart goes into the dogs, hoping to overrun into the gas and just get in their way.
Yeah.
Just trying to bog him up and apply some pressure. And the Varkalax have moved super far over now. You can see them in the top.
Yeah, they're way up there.
Top corner. That's actually going to prove to be a mistake for me. I got too aggressive with the Varkalax.
Because I feel like you don't have a good target there. Because like, you're not going to take them in, even if you got the flank of his character bus. You're not going to go into that, are you?
Well, the thing I wasn't actually considering was that he just doesn't care. Um, so he just is going to end up leaving the Varkalax alone
Mm-hmm.
and just walking away. And they should have been way closer to that warrior unit. Just to be obnoxious. But instead, I was being conservative, and they're
I
gonna
see what you mean. They should have been tighter
zip
in
their way out
somewhere
of the
in here.
game. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here.
Yeah, so this is just showing the gas overrun into this Feldrack unit.
Yep.
Frustratingly, I do not kill all his dogs. I break them though. Choose to pursue from the Hexrids, the Spectral Hunters.
Yeah.
And the Spectral Hunters roll 3 ones on their pursuit.
Eesh.
So they stumble. And then the dogs, I believe, box it or roll something very high and just like zip off into nowhere's land.
Yeah.
So they don't even have like a good wheel in a chaff. So it's the like polar opposite of what I needed to happen. Because I thought I was just going to kill the dogs to a man. But
Yeah.
turned out not to be.
And you kill the dogs to a man over here though, and your ghasts go into the Feldrakes.
The Feldrax, yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea is just to keep them there and put the coach into their flank next turn.
I feel like they're gonna kill you.
Their output's actually not great versus ghasts. They're hitting me on 3s, wounding me on 4s, and I have a 5-up. The ghasts don't need to win the combat; they just need to stick around.
Yeah.
And the ghosts are just off camera here, so you can't like
Oh, there's
do
somewhere
any
over
kind
on the
of
left.
weird reforms.
Yeah.
Because if the ghosts get in the flank, that's also super bad for him.
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty.
Yeah. The warriors charge the wraiths, who gave him a pretty long overrun into the front of the gas start. And then the Feldrax charged the dogs off the hill and then overrun into the black coach.
Oof.
So both these things I actually thought were a mistake on Jeff's part.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, here we go. Like,
Why do you think they were mistakes?
so just off shot, there's 2 Varkalax who can see the flank of this warrior's unit, the Vampire Knights who can see the flank, and the Skeletons and the Dragon can see the flank of this warrior's unit. He's overrunning and he's fighting in my turn. And his Chaos Lord is touching the Gas Champion. So I'm soaking all the attacks there. I've got all these attacks in the flank. And the Skeletons will be there to provide the breaking the steadfast.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. It's just this multi-fold combo charge onto this unit to kind of just pop it all and win the game.
Yeah, I mean that would, if you pop that unit, it would be over.
Yeah, and that's kind of thinking. And since I'm charging it from every direction, I'll have overruns or pursuits any direction I want.
Yep.
However, there's a problem, which we'll see in the next slide.
Well, so the combat on the left where the Feldrakes make it into your Dark Coach, you feel okay there also?
Yeah, so they overran, they killed the dogs, overran into the coach. So my thinking was the coach should hold out for a while, and I'll be able to bail it out at some point once I clean up these warriors. So that's my plan as he's overrunning and doing all these things.
But then
I forget my plan.
What are the Skeletons doing over here?
So I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? This, I'm sure I'll have this combat no problem. I have the active res, I have the damage, I have everything I need in that combat. Skeletons don't need to get involved because I forgot what Skeletons needed to be in that combat 4, which is breaking steadfast.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'll blow up the Feldrax this turn because I have charge flank, big flank, 3 rank spanner, Legion standard. I was like, oh yeah, I'll blow them up.
And then
and
turn around.
I'll have everything I wanted. I'll have everything.
But
also up here, funny anecdote: the gas actually beat the Feldrax on the turn they charge, and he makes the 9 break test.
Wait.
When the top left corner, when the gas initially overran, the turn they overran, they actually won that combat for some reason. And he hit the 9 on the break test, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll pursue. And he's like, no, Feldrax here, discipline 9. And I discovered another truly terrible thing about the Warrior book that day. But anyway, so there's a problem, and you can kind of see it right between the Dragon's Wing. And it's these Chaos Knights, or Warrior Knights.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't get the Varglak because I put them so far away. I couldn't get the Varglak close enough to chaff.
Oh.
So this is where all my kind of conservative movements starting to come back to bite me. Also,
yep. So, but yeah, that feels like it's a long charge for his Warrior Knights.
Yeah, it was like a 10. But the trick with playing any army that crumbles is you never should put yourself there to begin with. Like it doesn't matter if it's a 12. The dragons in this combat, I should not be making this a potential, let alone like there's no reason to risk all literally 2,000 plus points on him making the longest charge.
Yeah,
there's no reason to risk it.
Makes sense.
Jeff is also the only person who realized that killing the necromancers is priority number 1 with his magic. I thought he was gonna blast whatever, and just he kept putting blasts on the necromancers.
Yep. One's still alive here though.
He's alive for now, but his compatriot fell to like a pentagram of pain or something like that.
That makes sense. Yeah, they have like nothing to defend themselves, so yeah.
But not to worry, I have the output. I should just blow up this Warriors unit and be fine.
That's of course, right? That's of course gonna happen. And
that
then
is what happens. I do blow up the Warriors unit.
Yeah, how much do you win combat by? How much do you win combat by?
I think it's like 20 or something. It's
man, and if you just had the skeletons there. If you had the skeletons in the flank, man.
Yeah. So meanwhile, the skeletons combat, I lose.
You lose.
I lose this combat by I think like 4.
How?
Like Feldrax just pop. Because I can't roll dice, can you? I can't roll dice. Yeah, so the Feldrax just pop off and I lose. But this combat is looking up to be the perfect world. This Ghast is at 1 wound remaining. So he's not bleeding any kind of combat res now. He's still locked the Lord in place. So like this is the perfect world as far as I'm concerned. Like everything's going well. I'm super happy. And I even reformed to make the charge for the Knights a bit longer. Because I was like, well, if they come in, I'm still in trouble.
Yeah.
And over here, I believe the Feldrax are going to kill that last Ghast this turn.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
I don't know if there's other pictures.
Well, that's it.
Okay.
So tell me what happens.
So this is where everything goes off the rails. So the Knights come in and make it into the Vampire Knights.
Into the Vampire Knights. Interesting. They didn't go into the Dragon.
I think the Dragon was out of Arc or something along those lines. It was something funky. Or maybe the Dragon could have hidden a challenge. That might have been it. So they go into the Vampire Knights. When the dust settles, there's a Vampire Knight on 1 wound. I've killed every warrior but like two or three. So he's not steadfast anymore. He's done no wounds to the dragon. He's killed the Ghast. No, he killed the Ghast in like a challenger. I forget. But there's one Vampire Knight on 1 wound, which is the worst possible world. Because it means he has charge, flank, big flank, an additional band. Where if that Vampire Knight dies, he just has the wounds from the Vampire Knight, and it's a wash, maybe a win to me. However, the Vampire Knight lives, and I proceed to lose the entire combat by 6, which is the magic number for the dragon. And the reason photos stop here is I counted and recounted this combat. I believe
How many times?
4 times.
Yeah.
4 or 5 of just like putting dice, putting wounds, and like doing it. And this is where the twinkle in the eye starts. Is he's just like he knows the charge for the knights was like a 10 or 11, and just everything lined up just perfectly here. And it was just I was sitting there counting it, recounting it, counting it, recounting it. Here, he also kills the necromancer. He kills that other necromancer.
Yeah, the one that was right here.
Because now no one can take over for the crumble.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do kill these Feldraks. The Dark Coach pursues them boxcars, which is the one roll that means he can't see anything.
Wow.
If he had gone 11, he could have seen the other Feldrak unit. So like everything just starts falling apart. The ghosts crumble away when they had a nice flank charge on the Feldraks.
Yep.
Everything's crumbling away. And pretty much the wheels fall off. The 2 Varglaks conserve their points because there's no point in dying for a lost cause. He pushes the warriors up into the forest. And in the last play of the game, I saw a chance to clutch some manner of victory from the jaws of defeat. I put the Dark Coach into the flank of these warriors in the forest. I believe they like overrun boxcars off killing the skeletons to get into the woods.
Yeah.
My thinking is he's not steadfast in there. I've charged flank. I'm a chariot with a vampire on top. I should be winning this combat by at least 1. And if he biffs it and I run him down, we're getting back towards 10-10 territory.
Yeah.
So I go in, D6 plus 1 impact hits, nothing. Vampire on top, nothing. 2 horses, nothing. Coachman, nothing. So I proceed to lose the combat by 1. And he just reforms and murders me.
Yeah.
And Jeff was just laughing, and I was just sitting there, and I was like, there's no words. I have no words for how half these combats have gone. They've just kind of been non-events for me.
Man, but aren't you just
twinkle in Santa's eye once again?
You had he gave you the triple charge into. Wait, hold on. First off, it gives Jeff the 20.
Yeah, the vampire going down.
Yeah, it's basically
a lot of bleeding to stop.
But really, like what it came down to is like you just, which and I'm not trying to put you down. Like this happens to everyone while playing 9th Age. Is like you lost the view of what you needed to do with the skeletons into the flank of this unit.
Yeah. So when that charge was happening, I thought for some reason they both couldn't make it in. Which, looking at pictures after the fact, it's very obvious they both can.
Yeah. Right there.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, they both can't make it in. And it's like, who's more important to get in the combat? And it's obviously the skeletons. Skeletons are way more important than the dragon being in that combat, and it's way less risky. However, I thought that I just break him. For some reason, I thought I'd just break him. And that the skeletons wouldn't fit, so they didn't come in at all. Dragon just came in alone.
Painful.
And I believe this cemented the idea in my head that the dragon should never willingly be in combat unless it's the perfect scenario. And this was as close to the perfect storm as it got. I just misplayed it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because if you would have taken out that unit, which you would have broken them, you would have pursuing them with, what, 3 Swift Stride units? Like, so odds are you're going to catch them.
and I was pursuing them in the direction of my choice, which is back into the Feldrax. So I could have had this, I could have had my cake and eaten it too.
Yep.
There's no reason not to, except for some reason I got in my own head about this entire combat and just lost it.
Henry. I'm telling you, like, it's something to consider in games of Ninth Age. Like, the mind game is there. Like, I've done this so many times. Like, I've played, like, you know, super high profile players, whatever you want to call them, like guys on UB in freaking Poland. What's his name? I forgot his name. I played him and I get so into the fact that I'm playing a good player that I just make dumb decisions. And I look back at the game and I'm like, what was I even thinking?
Yeah, I think an important piece would have just been taking a step away, like knowing what the plan is, and then when it actually came time, because this is like Jeff on the golden platter. I was like, oh, this game is over. This is
it really was.
And I should have just taken a step away, thought about what I was doing, look at the table again, and I just was too quick on the draw, declared my charges, moved my charges, and then realized that wasn't the plan. That wasn't.
Oh, and that's the worst. That's the worst feeling in the world. Where you're like, oh no, that one decision changed the game.
And it's not even like these zombies could have charged that Feldrak unit and had the exact same effect that the skeletons did. There's no reason for the skeletons to be there. It's just, this is the one game where I felt like Jeff made every mistake in the world for me, and I just let myself down. And then when I finally realized that I was letting myself down, my dice were not in a mood to forgive me. Pretty much just had me live with my mistake. But I am happy if there's one player to make these kind of mistakes against and not feel bad about it. It is Durham, where you play someone who you know is going to notice your mistake and you know is going to punish you on it. And I think that's way better for just learning as a player than just playing someone who you make a mistake, you know it, and they just happen to stumble on it.
Yep.
Jeff doesn't stumble on your mistakes. He stamps on them yeah.
Well, that puts you at 20. That puts you at 25 points through 3 games.
Yeah, it was not the.
I think it was the nail in the coffin of you winning Masters.
Yeah, I had good day ones all of 2021, so this was the start of day ones for 2022. So it's not looking great. But
well, if anyone's still watching, please hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll be back with Henry's round 4 next time. And everyone, thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks.